Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
He had really good command of it today. He was throwing it in 2-0 counts and really doing anything he wanted with it. And when he has that ability, he's tough. We've seen him before. We've gotten him before, but he's also pitched very well against us in the past. We've seen this type of effort from him, so it's not like this is something completely out of the blue. He's a very good pitcher, and I think he was truly on his game.
All right, Rocco looking for some silver linings. Well, actually, he wasn't. I think he was talking about the. He was talking about was it who started yesterday? Lance Lynn.
Giolito.
Oh, Giolito.
Lucas Giolito.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice changeup.
Lost track. Boys, this is
Reckless Speculation.
This is Reckless Speculation Thursday on Mackie and Judd. Reckless speculation is a lifestyle. You either live it and you get it, or you don't. We love to speculate recklessly on this show, and we love when credible national journalist reporters like our friend John Morosi. We're just going to get right into this. Mackie and Judd, executive producer Declan, Doogie's going to join us on the show today. John Morosi, who I would say is one of the 5, 6. I think Jeff Passan is the top MLB insider right now for ESPN. Buster Olney is always full of information.
Kenny Rosenthal.
Rosenthal's in the mix. And then there's like John Heyman. There's like that second level of John Heyman.
Joel Sherman.
Yeah. I would say John Morosi is right in that mix. He breaks a ton of news, and he doesn't just float things. Like, he's not just going to wake up in the morning and be like, I'm just going to send something random out to the internet, right? He gathers information behind the scenes, and he disseminates it and then floats it strategically to feed the audience, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he tweeted yesterday, Jose Berrios is one name to watch as a trade fit for the Blue Jays, as I just mentioned on MLB Central, MLB Network. When a team has the worst record in the American League as the Twins do, it's hard to say any players are off limits. Jose Berrios, having a pretty good season, not amazing, but a pretty good season, has a year and a half left on his contract until he hits free agency. The Twins have not reached a contract extension with him. He is currently 26 years old, going to turn 27 in a week from today. When you saw that John Morosi tweet about Jose Berrios, what did you guys think?
I thought that I actually went back to the fact that the Twins have tried before and approached the Berrios camp about a significant extension, which is at some point in time here is going to have to get done. He's signed through the 2021. So he signed through this
22.
year.
He signed through 22.
22. Okay. So the Twins, we know, have approached the Berrios and Buxton camp about extensions. Both are going to be expensive to retain. And Berrios is, I don't know, I wouldn't say very publicly, but there have been signs, and this is not speculation, this has happened. There have been signs from Berrios that he wants to get paid. And from the sound of it, it sounds to me like he wants to be paid probably like an ace. Like he wants his payday. And by the way, I don't begrudge him that one bit. But with where the Twins are right now, and with how shocking the drop-off of this team has been quickly, and with definite question marks, including in pitching, which you can never have enough of. If you could work out a trade with a team to get a return of young arms or a couple of young arms from a team like Toronto for Jose Berrios, would I dismiss it? Absolutely, positively not. And the Twins need to take a long, hard look at where they are pitching-wise, and when it comes to young pitching in the bullpen and also starters. And again, they have to evaluate the fact that they have fallen off the face of the earth way quicker than anybody thought was possible. And to just dismiss this, Phil, as a blip, I think is a mistake. I mean, this needs to be examined and learned from, not like it's a one-season fluke. Don't concern yourself. No, this is an aging baseball team that we thought the window was going to be open in 2021, and it looks like it definitely closed. So my guess is that Morosi talked to credible people in the league, probably GMs, who said, we are hearing that Jose Berrios at the right price. And that's what would stop the trade. It's the price. The Twins would ask for the world. But Jose Berrios at the right price is almost certainly going to be shopped before the deadline, because I think there's a fighting chance here that the Twins, if they don't trade him, are not going to be able to re-sign him.
Yeah, well, we're sitting here and we are 25% of the way through this season, and the Twins are tied for the worst winning percentage in the entire major leagues with the Colorado Rockies. And so, to the second part of Morosi's tweet, when you have that bad of a record and you're that buried in the standings and you're 11.5 back of first place, 2 games back of fourth place in your division, any conversation should be on the table in terms of how to make your team better starting in 2022. And so the way I look at this, should the Twins consider trading Jose Berrios? I would prefer if they signed him to a contract extension. He's not a number one ace caliber guy. Like when you compare him to, some of the other top guys like the Trevor Bauers and the Clayton Kershaws and when Garrett Cole and Jake DeGrom are at their best. Like there's another level of starting pitcher above Jose Berrios for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think he has the stuff to get there, but we've been waiting for it for a few years. If he remains the same pitcher that he is right now for like the next 5 years, he's still a really valuable guy to have on your team. He's still in his prime. He's going to have 3 years left in his 20s. And so I would prefer to give him a contract extension. The going rate is probably going to be over $20 million a year. And now there is no salary cap, but teams spend within the parameters of how much money they bring in as a business. So when you pay a player $20 million and you got Josh Donaldson making $20 million plus or whatever, put it this way, the Twins aren't going to spend $200 million on their payroll along with some of the top teams, right? Their resources are capped by their own business constraints. So when you give him $20 million, it might mean that you can't pay Byron Buxton, or like you're going to have to be a little choosy here.
Yes.
I would pay him. I'd give him probably $20 million a year on like a 4 or 5 year contract and cross my fingers that he can get to another level. But if they have decided, if they have had these discussions with Berrios' camp over the last year or so, and they have decided either A, he just wants to hit free agency in a year and a half and go down that route and explore his options, or B, there's too much of a gap between what we are willing to pay him and what he wants. Let's say he wants 30 and you're going to give him 18 and that's just too wide of a gap. Now would be the best time to trade him because a team would pay more for him in terms of prospect capital to get potentially 2 playoff runs from him. Like if the Blue Jays traded for him right now, and they've got 3 really good pitching prospects, for instance, I think that are all AA or above right now. The Blue Jays would get this year's playoff run, and they'd get him for next year. And so if you take this Berrios thing into the offseason, you're going to get less, I think, anyways, in December at the winter meetings than you would if you traded him sometime in the next 2 months. So again, I would extend him, but if they don't think they can extend him, they're so bad right now, they could get a pretty decent haul for him and maybe a couple guys that could pop in your pitching rotation in 2022. So I didn't think we'd be having this discussion, but here we are.
My prediction is he doesn't get traded, but it's not because they won't shop him. I think they're going to ask for so much that there's a very good chance the teams will say no, based, Phil, on what you just said, which is the Twin stance is going to be, we're giving you this guy for 2 potential playoff runs. We need to get, let's say, 2 A prospects back. And the team's going to say, we'll give you an A prospect. So I don't think he gets traded, but I also, you hit on the most interesting thing. And this is the decision that's going to have to be made. And that's as Berrios and Buxton approach free agency. What do you do? I don't think you can afford to bring both back. And Buxton scares me so much. Berrios doesn't scare me, but the problem is I think he's going to want to be paid like a true ace. And I don't think he is one. So yeah. And when the other component too here is, and I guess this could be a debate of sorts, but when you look at what the Twins have in their system from a pitching standpoint, they've certainly got some names and some prospects, right? But I don't feel like they're way down with, the wave of pitching coming up is incredible. Like it's going to knock your socks off. You just wait. This is a playoff pitching rotation so I think the other thing is, what does this team have from the standpoint of young arms emerging? And I think they have some, but not a ton. But that might be where you need to insulate yourself. And if you can add 1 or 2 eventually, you probably jump, because like, let's look at this right now. This window to me, like this is not a 1 year, oh my God, they're bad. But 2022, you just wait. This team for the most part is older. And I don't know why, but it feels like this opportunity has slammed shut now. So like you've got to be planning if you don't want to go into a potential cycle of being bad, which you don't. Like we've seen that sucks. If you want to actually have some light at the end of the tunnel fairly soon, I think you need to be proactive here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the other question you have to ask yourself with this team, okay? Because I know that it's hard to wrap your head around a window coming shut this fast when you thought 6 weeks ago this team was going to win 90, 95 games and maybe compete for a deep playoff run, right? I mean, start with winning a playoff game for the first time in 17 years, but and now it's like, oh my God, it's a little bit of that same feeling that we had in 2011 where it's like, what? Well, the window's closed? Like, what happened? And so I think you have to figure out who is going to help you in 2022. What is your nucleus for 2022, right? So for me, it starts with Kirilloff. Byron Buxton until, like, if he can get back on the field at some point. Byron Buxton was the best player in baseball when he got hurt. Larnach is going to be part of that. Royce Lewis at some point, but even those guys are kind of unproven, so you're kind of crossing your fingers. I still have some hope for Polanco and Kepler, even though they haven't been the same players. They're both in their prime. So you could make a case. Luis Arraez is 24. Like, there's a group of position players here that definitely still needs to get their asses going in some ways, but you can make a case. Miguel Sano, I'm always going to have my doubts. I would look to move him. He's so one-dimensional. But then you look at the pitching side, and it's like Jose Berrios is your only guy right now in your rotation under like 32. Mm-hmm. You're starting pitchers right now. Shoemaker, 34. Pineda, 32. Maeda, 33. J. Happ, 38. So you can't just run this back with a bunch of dudes in their mid-30s. Donaldson's going to be 36 next year. Cruz is going to be 41. So what I would do is identify my nucleus and say, okay, these are the guys we're going to start with going into 2022.
Yep.
How can we add? Where are the holes, and how can we add to this group? Are there assets we can leverage for this year? Get rid of them at the trade deadline and maybe beef up. Like, you could get something really decent for Nelson Cruz. Andrelton Simmons is on a 1-year contract. He's one of the best defensive players of this generation, right? Michael Pineda, Alex Colomé has kind of come around. If he pitches well for a month, you probably spin him. And I threw this name out and got mocked, of course, by the Twins blogosphere when I threw out Kenta Maeda's name about a week ago. What do you mean? He's on the most he's on a team-friendly contract, but he's also 33. He's 33 years old.
Yep. Patrick threw that out too. Yeah.
And so if you think that because his contract is so team-friendly, you might be able to get something really nice 10 years younger, right? Mm-hmm. That can help you for sure in a window that starts in 2022. I don't think it's a full rebuild, but I think you should be looking at the assets that might not help you going forward, or the assets that are on 1-year contracts, or in the case of Berrios, I hate the idea of trading him, but like, if you can't reach an agreement, you should strongly consider talking to teams in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Berrios is the only guy, though, of the list that you just went through that would get you a potential haul. Mm-hmm. Everybody else going to get you pieces. Like, and hell, they might be great. I don't know. Yes. But they're not the only trade. So, like, I think fans of a losing team that's about to trade players say, oh, if you trade Maeda, you're going to clean up 3 Hall of Famers, 5 All-Stars. That's not how this works. Like, look at the recent trades and Twins or otherwise, how often we've been underwhelmed by the return. And we're like, that's what you get. Berrios could actually break the bank of a team prospect-wise. Like, they might just say, okay, we'll give you 2 guys, and we're all like, that's great. But Phil, so I think to your point about this isn't a full rebuild is true when it comes to position players. I don't think it's true when it comes to pitching. I think this is going to be, if you look at that starting rotation, opening day 2022, Happ will be gone. Pineda, I believe, will be gone.
He'll be gone. Yep.
He'll be gone.
Shoemaker's gone.
Shoemaker's gone. Exactly right. And so Berrios might be there. He might not be. Maeda, same thing. But there's nobody in that rotation who you're like, okay, this is for sure a thing. And that's where the one thing that Falvey and Levine, and this either has to be internal from them, or if it's not possible, they have to go out and fix this, though. And I'll continue to harp on this, is with the last 2 years, the most unacceptable thing, I think, is this: Homer Bailey, Rich Hill, Shoemaker, Happ.
Yeah.
That can't be like, okay, if one of those guys in the last 2 years is your 5th starter, I might be like, okay, that's fine. But think about it. You signed those guys in those 2 years with the idea that they're going to make starts and be regular parts of your rotation. That's where you need to be coming in with younger guys, right?
Yeah.
That can build something, and that's where
White Sox in Cleveland are doing that right
exactly.
under your nose.
But I mean that's where the window is shut now. Like you can't continue in that vein and be like, well, next winter we'll go find 2 35-year-olds. That's one that is not acceptable. If you're going to build through pitching, your building through pitching can include, we're going to find a guy whose spin rate in Oakland was slightly off, and we're going to take that spin rate and we're going to, i.e. he's somehow going to cheat, which I don't care about either. But that's one where I do think it is a rebuild so far, and I'm really disappointed in how the pitching has fallen out here top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, man. And I know that all of your developmental, like all your minor league pitchers that were going to maybe play a factor didn't pitch because there was no minor league season last year. But, look in your division, like we said. I mean, the White Sox, Cleveland, even Kansas City to some extent, there's guys that have moved up pretty quickly without having had the benefit of a minor league season last year. And so we're 5 years into this thing, and there literally have been no Falvey Levine starting pitchers come up yet. None that have stuck in your rotation, right?
Right.
Dobnak, but Berrios was a Terry Ryan and Bill Smith. I can't remember what exact year. It was like 2012 or 13. So I think it was a Terry Ryan-led draft pick, and everything else is patchwork. So that is a criticism for sure. And these guys don't miss enough bats in an era of strikeouts. Shoemaker and Happ are striking out 5 batters per 9, so they're just allowing way too much contact, a lot of loud contact. So, yeah, these are – I know that the instant reaction is, what, Berrios? Why would you ever consider trading Berrios? Well, if you want to restock your cupboards, and I know that there's another conversation to be had here too for another day about, why are the Twins always playing for 1, 2, 3 years down the road? And I think that was a legitimate criticism for the 2019 team specifically, when they had the best offense the best home run hitting offense in the history of baseball. And their big deadline acquisitions were Sergio Romo and Sam Dyson.
Yeah.
And Sam Dyson failed a physical and didn't pitch the rest of the year. Like, they didn't add a big starter. Was there a move to be made there? And that's easy to say, wow, but the asking price was this. Well, the asking price, you're never going to get like a bargain bin ace. Like, you're going to have to overpay in that situation. And the Twins, for 20 years, whenever they've been in contention on July 31st, have always balked at the price for the piece that puts you over the top. That's the decision that they've made. They've always wanted to keep some chips on future season tables. And then what happens is 2011, 2021, the rug comes out and you're like, damn, you know what? Maybe we should have traded, Yoan Duran back in 2019, or, back in 2011 or 2010, it was maybe Aaron Hicks for Cliff Lee would have been an ideal trade at that time. Maybe Aaron Hicks isn't going to be the 10-year center fielder.
I think
Stroman was an option.
Got traded early from the Blue Jays to the Mets, and there weren't a lot of moves in 2019, but I mean that was there. Does
Stroman guarantee that you beat the Yankees? No,
but it would be. There are times to go for it, and there are times to be smart, but you've got to know when the difference is.
Yep.
Right.
Reckless speculation.
So yeah, I would not take this potential Berrios being shopped, because we need to keep in mind the most important thing if you love the Twins is this: Nelson Cruz isn't going to get you what you think he's going to. He'll get you something.
Also, National League teams are basically out of the bidding for him, so you're really only looking at a small handful of American League contenders that would trade for him.
But it's just, we always think, oh my God, if you trade Andrelton Simmons, great defensive shortstop, it's going to be great. No, you're going to get a guy you've never heard of, and he's probably at Class A, and he might never play for you.
Yep. So, reckless speculation Thursday. We will talk to Doogie.
Reckless speculation.
And listen, we just want to say we really love and appreciate those of you who recklessly speculate with us. Those of you who get the reckless speculation lifestyle, and we won't let you down every Thursday here. All right, Declan always on Thursdays goes back into the archives on Twitter, and he embarrasses us, quite frankly.
I do.
He goes and finds old tweets from the internet, which this time around is powered by Dennis Kirk, our friends at Dennis Kirk. If you like to ride, if you like to ride toward the trade deadline with crazy ideas of trading your best starting pitchers for future pieces, it's not going to go over well with the fan base. But, whatever you ride, Harley, sport bike, reckless speculation, trade rumor, cycle, You'll find what you need at DennisKirk.com. 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, clothing and helmets as well. Order by 8 p.m., and they ship the same day, plus shipping is free for orders over $89. DennisKirk.com. Everything you need for your ride at DennisKirk.com. All right, Dex, hit us with the bad news. Old tweets exposed.
Bullpen edition. Twins bullpen edition. We'll start with Judd.
I feel like Phil's really going to take a hit on this one.
So the Twins bullpen deserves a ton of credit for this win, but if you go to Rogers-like guy into Rogers, I don't know what you're trying to say there. You could lock playoff games down and create 7-inning games July 12th.
Judge trying to clone Taylor Rogers right there.
I got it.
I think I'm suggesting a trade because, I'm thinking that day, Sam Dyson for sure. He loves cats. Or maybe
you got
doesn't.
238 likes on that thing, man.
Yeah, because I was saying
hashtag engagement.
We had long conversations about, because Rogers was so good, we had conversations about you need to find another guy like him, and basically it goes closer. So yeah, you know what? Okay. I'm not going to back off this one bit.
Yeah. Lockdown playoff
at the time,
games, though, huh?
At the time, yeah. You know why? Because I was thinking about the playoffs.
So cloning, so cloning Taylor Rogers
at the time. Now that was 2019.
It was a much better version.
Predator-like at the time.
Phil,
it was very good back then.
Phil's tweet at the time is correct.
I've never been wrong about a Twins reliever. I am batting 1,000 in my tweets lifetime when I tweet about Twins relievers.
At the time of this tweet,
Alex Burnett.
It's very accurate. But May 20th, 2020, I don't know. Phil Mackey, August 18th, 2020. Tyler Duffy is the Twins' best reliever right now.
He was at the time, man.
That's fine, but this is we're exposing things, and right now Tyler Duffy is getting told to throw at people, and he doesn't know what the hell to do. And
he's been so bad and has had command problems. He can't even properly hit a batter when he's told to. That's the problem.
Did you guys watch the John Boy breakdown, the 9-minute John Boy? I know Judd did.
I loved it. It was absolutely fantastic.
It's insane. It's very good.
Insanely good. Here's my guess. I think, and this total guess, I think Tyler Duffy purposely threw that pitch behind his legs because he objected to how ridiculous it was to be asked to hit him. So he wasn't insubordinate. He was probably told, hey, give him a message, right?
Who do you think told him that? Because I don't think it was Rocco. Was it JD? Was it which one of the old codger guys told him?
Well, Rocco said specifically there were some guys in our clubhouse who were upset. And you're right. He sort of absolved himself. He's like, I'm not that upset about it, which he shouldn't have been. So, yeah, it was probably a Donaldson type of guy who said, we got to get some revenge. But I don't think Duffy missed him like, oh, my God, he can't throw it there. I think he purposely was like, okay, I'll sort of go along, but this is BS. Because if you're a pitcher, I don't think you've got your teammates back. Like, if that's a pitcher who gets the home run hit on 3-0, you might. But Williams, Astudillo, that's literally a circus moment. If you're Duffy, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing was just...
But the John Boy thing, Phil, you got to watch. It's great.
I'll check it out for sure. I'm so happy that current and former... I saw CC Sabathia on his R2C2 podcast teed off on La Russa. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
La Russa.
So every time I think Phil or Judd are the front runners to win something... Old Declan comes out from the woodwork on March 24th, 2014 and says, I can't believe it's even a debate between Caleb Thielbar and Scott Diamond for the final spot in the pen.
So here's my question. Were you fighting for Scott Diamond here? Or
I think I was fighting for Caleb Thielbar.
Either way, it's hilarious. That
it doesn't matter who I was fighting for now, because it does matter. But yes, Scott I was debating the semantics of the 13th arm, if it was a 13th arm, between Caleb Thielbar and Scott Diamond.
There were all these stories written when Scott Diamond had that one pop-up season on a 95-loss Twins team, and he was a really good pitcher for 1 year with the Twins. And there was all these stories written about, boy, Scott Diamond has found, he's the number one starter on a Major League Baseball team, and he still drives a Ford Focus. He's just an everyman. No, Scott Diamond knew what was happening, right? I can't believe, I have a 3.5 ERA. I ain't gonna go buy a Ferrari yet. This might be the only time I make money.
That's pre-independent league Saints Thielbar too, right?
No, he came up in 2013. So he's had 2 stints.
No,
I believe, with
but
the
he went
Saints.
back to the Saints after that.
Right. So yes,
He was with the Saints
came up
before
in,
that too, wasn't he?
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
I forgot that.
He was with the Saints in like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And then made his debut in 2013. And actually was effective in 2013. And then I think was optioned off by like 14 or 15. Went back to the Saints. Was like a pitching coach at Augustana like 2 years ago, and now
then
is
he began
still
to
on
work
a
on
major league roster.
his spin rate, which meant he went
Amazing.
Gaylord Perry.
Well, I think we know who takes the victory or the L this time around. Declan. Hey, if you ever want to do a bonus edition of Old Tweets Exposed Twins Bullpen, just go find a Twins pitching roster from like 2012, 11, 12, 13, and just put my handle and any of those guys, like PJ Walters, Esmerling Vasquez, like literally just put those names in and
Sam
see how
Deduno?
many. Sam Deduno. Sam
Pedro
Deduno would be a good one.
Hernandez.
Go
He was
find how
back.
many just way off base tweets I probably had about some of those guys
Jeff
with
Manship.
my pitching beer goggles on.
Yeah.
Jeff Manship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that for sure. All right, boys. Congratulations to Declan. He takes home the crown for Old Tweets Exposed. All right, we'll take a deep breath and we'll get to our friend, the godfather of reckless speculation, Darren Doogie Wolfson.